the City of Angels is black and gold. You are listening to the Heart of LAFC podcast. And now, Joseph Zacher.
Greetings, Los Angeles. Greetings, champions. Welcome to episode 266 of the Heart of LAFC podcast. That's right. We're calling this one Defending Champions for very obvious reasons. Once you're the champion, you then got to defend it. So we're here. We're going to talk about that today. Of course, the elephant in the room, we definitely got to talk about the World Cup, one of the best finals possibly that we could have. So we'll definitely jump into that as well as other news. I know you're all looking for that schedule. We are too. I haven't seen it yet. Guys haven't seen it yet. It's probably going to drop tomorrow just because that's how they play this out. Of course, I can't get this job done without my crew. Welcome back, Tony, Bam, and Araceli. Welcome back, guys. Bam, how have you been in this long break we've taken?
Yeah, I've been all right. Watching a couple of the World Cup games and then watching the Australian professional leagues who run the A-League here in Australia absolutely shit the bed with an announcement they made this week.
I'm hearing it's protest time, right?
Yep, protest galore over here because you know what? Let's just put it into context for most of our listeners can understand. Imagine the MLS saying, we've sold the rights to host the MLS Cup final to LA for the next 3 years. Regardless of who finishes top, LA will host it for the next 3 years. I know as LAFC fans would be against that as well. There's no right. You win. You finished higher ranking, you deserve to host it. That's pretty much what's happened here in Australia. They've gone, Sydney's going to host the A-League, not only the men's, but the women's final for the next 3 years for $14 million total. That's where it's going to go, regardless of who hosts, who finishes top.
It's like they're taking the lazy way out. Instead of actually worrying about the proper competition, they're just like, yeah, whatever, it's a task. We'll get over it.
Yep.
Weird. Just weird. It's unfortunate. So, hopefully the protests, and you said, well, mention what they're going to do with this amazing protest because it's pretty wild.
So from everything I'm hearing, at the 20-minute mark of every game this weekend, both sets of active fans, so for example, the 30-52 are walking out at the 20-minute mark, leaving the stadium. First 20 minutes, they're going hard, then they're leaving the stadium. What makes it even better is that tomorrow night, you got the Melbourne Derby, Melbourne City hosting Melbourne Victory. Melbourne Victory is one of the biggest active supporters going around, and City's not that far behind them. They are both walking out at the 20-minute mark.
That's wild, but necessary. Definitely necessary. Got to respect the fans. Number one, you have to do it. I mean, that's just really brutal for a team that's earned their way to get stuck in that situation. Yeah, unfortunate. Hopefully the noise works out. Hopefully the pressure pays off and they move on from this nonsense. This is a bizarre plan in the first place. Tony, how are you doing, man? You look a little different since the last time we all saw you on here. How are things, sir?
Going pretty well. Been a great little break. Went to see Men's and Blazers, which was a really good live podcast. Like, I've learned a lot from them. As most people know, I bleached my hair halfway and doing a little thing that because Bam decided to say I should go topless, and I'm giving him one episode because it's a thing now, I guess. Ever since I think the whole playoff run after a goal, I've been topless the rest of the game. So I think this is a thing now.
Interesting. I mean, I'm trying to figure it out. You look kind of like a villain from a Batman franchise. I'm just saying, I can't spot which one. Maybe y'all can, but definitely he's got the villain vibes going on. All good things, though. All good things. Araceli, how are you doing? I know you've got this new gig and you got things ramping up quick. How are things going?
I'm actually doing really well. Aside from watching all the World Cup matches, I actually just got back from Chicago from a rare little getaway, which is, like, if you know me, anytime I travel, it's usually for work. So just to be able to get away just for a little bit was super rare. Really enjoyed it. And yes, so as most already know, I've been recruited re-recruited, I guess you could say, to come
Yeah,
back for the 2023 MLS Next Pro season, and I'm very excited for it. And aside from all of
as you
that,
should be. Yes.
thank you. And aside from that, really just kind of gearing up for the United Soccer Coaches Convention that's coming up very soon in Philadelphia.
Oh, that's gonna be a great event. I know when we had the draft, our first draft, we got to go to Philly during the same time as that, and man, everybody's there. It's kind of surprising when you see the folks walking through the room. Some royalty, that's for sure. So it's pretty cool. How long are you gonna be out there for?
I think I'm going to be out there for roughly a week because the convention itself is from January 11th to the 16th, I believe. So it's going
Hmm.
to be a full week of, convention activities, including the NWSL draft, which I've never been to be honest. So I'm definitely curious to see how that goes.
That's gonna be fun. I mean, going to a draft, I know it was an MLS one. I think the most entertaining thing from it all is one, the fans, because there'll always be an element of fans there. Two, the parents of the players getting drafted. It's always a cool experience to see an athlete get to this stage, and now it's time to get picked up by a pro side, and the family's there, and so it's just really cool to see them walking around and seeing that process. So good stuff. Good stuff. Definitely keep us posted on that. And we just can't wait to see the coverage for MLS next because we're going to be there soon enough, everybody. Right? Right? It's happening. It's real. All right. So let's talk about World Cup. Definitely. To do that first, though, we do have to pay our respects to Grant Wall. Uh, Terrible situation all around. Not going to get into what happened exactly. We all know what happened. Just the fact that we lost a major figure in terms of soccer media here. Going back to when Beckham broke in, and even earlier than that, as you guys heard, his first World Cup he covered was '94. And just always being a pioneer for our sport and to bring it out into the light, into the mainstream. One of those people that was instrumental in that. And so he will definitely be missed. I know for most of us in this conversation here, we've pretty much seen him mostly in passing, but we are close to a lot of people that he actually helped out. And so, yeah, it's really rough to see. And of course, our condolences to his family. But definitely want to mention that before we get into World Cup. Araceli, I know you got a chance to see him in passing before, right?
Oh, for sure. As most already know, he is a KC native. And in fact, we went to the same high school, which was news to me when all the articles were coming out. But other than that, he was definitely a figurehead in the SKC press box. And unfortunately, as far as I can remember, I don't think I've ever had a chance to speak with him directly, but I definitely seen him not only at SKC games, but whenever the national team was in town. Like he was definitely a mentor here.
Yeah, and you could tell he was willing to be that mentor as well. That's the stories I get from a lot of people that were moving up, trying to get into the game. That he was an open conversation, and supportive. So he will definitely be missed. That is certain. Definitely not forgotten. That is certain as well. And so again, our condolences. Now to the World Cup. Uh, this tournament off the field, we know all the issues. We know all the problems. We know all the madness. Stuff that just ticks us off every day. But thankfully, the footballers of this world decided to give us a show and really make it one heck of a tournament on field. To the point where we now have a World Cup final that the storylines are just so epic. Honestly, my teams aren't in it. Our teams aren't in it. Some friends have a couple teams in it, but for the most part, we get to just be admirers of the game, in the lead up to this. And sometimes that's fine. There's nobody that we don't like, right? There are some players that we love that are on the field. So this is gonna make it a lot of fun. Uh, I do want to give a shout out to Croatia and Morocco getting where they're at. I think nobody really listed them as being those teams to go that far, and they did. Croatia, this was the last big run for their stars, so there's going to be a bit of a shuffle for them, but good on them for pulling it off. And Morocco, I'll throw this to you, Bam. This group is just plain inspiring, aren't they?
Oh, 100%. Being the first African team to make it this far. You know, I actually gave them a chance against France in the last game. You know, they went through, they beat Spain, they beat Portugal, they come against France. If anyone made it to the final and deserved to win it more than them after having to face Spain, Portugal, and then if they did beat France, you know, what could you say other than they've got a lot of heart, and I expect to see a lot of those players in the big leagues very soon.
What's funny is they are. It's kind of a sleeper team. Their guys are scattered all over Bundesliga, La Liga. They're everywhere. It's just again underrated because we don't. Who's paying attention to Morocco, right? They're
Exactly.
not. You should. You should. That's what makes this game so beautiful, because actually it is a collection of a lot of highly talented players, driven by an equal cause with a coach that took over after crisis, right? So really tight knit group playing the way they're playing, and it's just beautiful to see. Their fans as well, the active support. Definitely look up Morocco supporter culture. It's wild, guys. It is really cool. Tifos on a perfect level, inspiring level. I will say that. Uh, Getting the noise in their stadium, making it a proper home ground every time, going hard every time, bringing their families, getting. I mean, everything about it is been amazing. I know they've tried to get major tournaments to host before. I have a feeling with the passion that we're seeing, they might be a pretty darn good host in the future. Maybe look for that. That would be pretty cool as well. Tony, for you, I know you've been loving the Morocco vibe, but what else has inspired you out of watching this tournament?
Just all the new, like, the upsets in the beginning of the whole thing of, like, you couldn't overlook everything. Like, again, it goes back to maybe the players weren't feeling the vibe because of all the you know, off field issues that were going on. But, like, you have Japan aspiring, almost like making a full run like it was 2002 all over again. You had Saudi Arabia beat the finalists
Yeah.
because they overlooked them. You know what I mean? Then of course for me it's like, so I'll bring it back to my national team. It was just, I wanted Mexico out because there has to be a change in the federation and it has to hit them where money hurts. But on the off the field things, that's what I wanted. On the field during that last game, it was heart-wrenching, exciting at the end of the day because I wanted them to win, because at the end of the day, my true fandom for my nationality came out. And afterwards, I was like, okay, I'm happy we lost, yes, because now we can try to do some change. But at the same time, it's still hurt.
Yeah, once the whistle blows, it doesn't matter, right? It's the guys on the field, and you can't have hate for them, right? These guys are athletes. They're putting the work in. Um, they're not a part of the politics. At least they shouldn't be. And to kind of punish them or put them through the grinder for what other people are doing in the background, it's kind of messed up, yeah, uh, and so it's impossible, as much as certain people annoy us at times. Once the boys are on the field, once the game is started, it's the national team. You gotta do what you gotta do. For me, with the US team, I thought, from my perspective, it was a good run. Did I expect more than the Netherlands from them? I'll be honest with you guys, no, I didn't. And I probably said it to a few of you guys several times. It's because who's at the helm. I didn't think he was capable of getting through a team like that, and that would be the end of our show. Um, I guess that happened. But really, I didn't expect more than that. I thought this was it. Now, the next tournament, when they come here, pray to God everybody's healthy. There's going to be a different kind of run because now you're playing at home. You get the boost. Everybody except Qatar, when they're playing at home, gets a boost. That's just how it works. And so, I'm feeling good about that if the guys can stay healthy. We'll see who the new faces are and who runs the show when it happens. But yeah, definitely that's where the anticipation or the excitement was. This was something to build to something else. Germany, on the other hand, one VAR either way. Was it in? Was it out? Decided it. But really, what decided was the first game. That's the truth. You got to handle it on your own field. They didn't handle what they had to handle. So tough beans for them. That's now what, 2 tournaments in a row that they bounce early. I wouldn't call it crisis, but definitely a need for a shakeup. That's what's going to happen there. And of course, they're young. We'll see what happens with them. Bam, I know you weren't high at all on your national team, but let's be honest, there was some inspiration that came from those guys, right?
Oh, definitely. If Qual's last shot against Argentina went in, going extra time and all that kind of stuff, I think it was more, and I was in a position where, yay, we do well, or yay, we do bad and we get rid of the manager. So either way, I was winning. Like, there were some interesting moves, like the way we played against Tunisia and Denmark, we should have played against France. Plain and simple. Against France, we went out there. First 10 minutes was great, and then we're like, okay, we scored. Now what do we do? And we just got destroyed by France. Where if we played how teams like Saudi Arabia played, where it's just balls to the wall, let's go for it, let's not be scared, different result could have happened there.
Well, like Morocco, right? Let's be real. In the semifinal, one ball bounces one way or another, and those guys are the ones that pull this game off. They were extremely unfortunate. Why? Because they played forward. They weren't afraid. They did what they had to do. It didn't work out. The bounces didn't go their way, but they were in a position to do so. And I think that's when you look at a side and you really evaluate maybe the coaching decisions, it's the chances created, right? It's the run of play, not the actual goals scored, because that's another thing, right? But did they get in position to score those goals? And if that was happening, even if you didn't get the goals, if that was still happening, there's not much to be mad about, right? Except you didn't get the result. And I think for Australia, it didn't happen at the last second there. It got lost. For the U.S. versus the Netherlands, they kind of played themselves, made schoolyard errors. We saw that with Mexico. I think this was the generation past, and it was just this what it's going to be. And Tata, I don't know what he was doing. So all ran into the similar issues here. Is eventually the quality of the management kind of took over, and then that was that. Araceli, your impressions of the tournament, what inspired you? What did you enjoy the most out of this thing?
Well, going into the tournament, I was supporting Mexico because I am an El Tri fan. But then again, I really did not have high expectations for them considering how the team has been performing for the past year. It was kind of one of those of like, just please get out of the group stage. But obviously, we saw what happened there. But other than that, I mean, you guys kind of already mentioned it earlier. We have to start looking at other teams like Morocco, Japan, South Korea. We cannot sleep on these African teams, the J League, the K League, because it's clear and obvious that they're starting to come up talent-wise. But other than that, I mean, Morocco, they really were a very passionate team. You could tell in each of their matches. I will be the first to admit I am a Ronaldo fan. Yes, I wanted Portugal to win, but hey, hats off to Morocco. They wanted it more, so all the credit to them. I mean, there was just a lot of great moments in this tournament. Croatia beating Brazil. The list goes on, really.
In one way, you could say that it's kind of a leveling of talent, right? Or capabilities among national teams, that the gap between the best and I'd say the middle is shrinking. Skill levels are coming up. Things are evening more. Games are more contested. Systems also provide that. So teams are better managed these days. But it's much more competitive. I could think on maybe 2 teams in this tournament that were really not competitive. Otherwise, everybody else pretty darn close. There were moments. There's only 2 that were like, they do not belong here. And then we thought Costa Rica, oh, they don't belong here. And then they were minutes away from moving on to the next round. So who knows what, right? Bit of a Lazarus moment there, jumping right back in. But they did, they stepped up. They licked their wounds and moved on and got points out of this thing and were competitive just as well. So I think the only team that I felt really hard done by, like, oh man, I really thought more was coming from them, was Ecuador, where our boys were at. They looked good in all of their games, and somehow they go home. I thought they were probably the most unfortunate of the groups in terms of where they ended up, because it just looked like there was so much more to take from that. What do you think, Bam?
For me with Ecuador, like I think the thing that hurt them the most was unfortunately missing Mendes for the final group due to him copping 2 yellows in the 2 games before. Like Mendes played a full 90 in the 2-0 over Qatar, played the full 90 in the 1-1 against the Netherlands. Now, there's some stats about Mendes. In the game against Qatar, do you know what his accurate pass rate percentage was?
High 80s, right?
99%.
Jeez.
He was
He had-
balling
beautiful.
out both games.
He was balling. In the 1-1 against Netherlands, his pass rate was 87%.
Yeah. Against Netherlands, guys, and the system that they run up, and how tight they will play teams. I think we got an introduction to Mendes that we didn't understand we had. I think our club understood that. They know that. They've assessed. I know the Orlando fans, when he left, were pretty angry about the situation when he left them, because they knew a little more than we did. But talk about competition for places in our midfield, we have a proper one. And it's nice to have him here. It's a luxury for as long as we can keep him, because he really featured well. Tony's shaking his head, right? Go for it, Tony. You're gonna say something. Jump at it.
Well, me and Bam have been talking about it, but it's just rumors. I don't know if it's been confirmed yet or not. And is it been confirmed yet, Bam? Mendes may be on the leave for Gam. I believe Gam or Tam.
Well, we can't keep him because he costs too much.
No, just JT making JT moves supposedly, because it's like there's a buyer out there that's going to give us some Garber bucks.
So this is going back from December 2nd. Club de Foot Montreal are requiring him for 450k GAM plus 50k GAM incentives.
To where?
Montreal.
Interesting.
So that's why I said.
Yeah, that was a rumor going. Now, it hasn't been much after that from December 2nd, but that was rumor going around back then, was that he was going to that. Now, me personally, I see him as we're going to keep him, and Sifu will be off to Europe. And the way that Mendes played, that Mendes played in the World Cup, Sifu's hit his peak in the MLS, but Mendes is already ahead of him, I would say.
Yeah. Well, I just they play different roles. They just do. In our system, it's similar, right? They'd be fine. A little different way to approach things, but they would be fine. They could play the same way. In Ecuador's system, no, different roles. Just a different way of approaching it. So, no, we're fine if we keep Mendes. We're gonna miss Cifuentes if he goes, but dude, we'd be idiots not to take the money at this point. He's probably at his highest value we've seen yet. It's gonna be hard to keep him at this stage. He's so highly rated, but Mendes is there too. And when you feature in a World Cup and feature well, oh yes, the price goes up. So we'll see how long either of them last with us, but they are now very marketable products. And that's how the sport is done. That's how you keep things moving, and you bring in other big name players. Speaking of the other players for our team that actually featured well, I know Acosta got minutes. He looked good in the minutes that he had. Would have liked to see him play more, but that's let's be honest, the U.S. midfield is pretty. That's the most solid part of that team. So kind of hard to break in anyway. Yeah, Tony.
I was like, I have a question for like just in general for the roundtable for the U.S. It's always bothered me because the U.S. media is always the same with them. It's we're still a growing nation in soccer. Like, don't worry, we're going, and then it goes to we're here, we're ready, we should be winning everything. So when is this conversation going to stop and then actually be like what Spain is, where it's like you need to perform and anything outside of the group stage is unwanted?
Well, when the majority of American media is a bunch of turtles with their heads tucked in until the World Cup shows up and then they rise up, oh, World Cup's here, you're going to get the full emotion because why? It sells. It sells. Is it accurate? No, far from it. We got a lot of issues to deal with. It's a pretty heavy thing to talk about. We could take up a whole episode as to why the US is where they are. But it's just media being media. I mean, look at the English media. Talk about when is it going to grow up? The inventors of the game, apparently their media can't grow up because every time they string two good games together, they're going to be the next World Cup champ, right? They're taking the cup, it's going home because we had two good games. They do it every time, and then they destroy their own side when they don't pull it off because the expectations are way up here when they should have never been. Nothing against their players, it's their media. And then you get everybody whipped up in a frenzy. And now, walking away from a tournament, which they were pretty darn good, it's all grumble, grumble, grumble. Everybody angry, and everybody point fingers at Kane when, dude, you hit the team that was going to beat you anyway. Sorry, that's just life. That's the World Cup. Not that many get to win it. That's how it plays. So yeah, I think we're victims of that same sensationalism, and so the expectations are all over the place because we don't know better here. We're naive to it. Ask fans of the Netherlands what it takes to win a World Cup, right? There's no guarantees. It's the World Cup. As long as you're competitive and play your best, that's the essential. If you get there and you have the run, cool. If you don't, welcome to the club. All but one team's going to be happy when this is all said and done. That's it. That's where I'm at. Bam, do you want to add into that?
Just like going through the media side of football fans. Yes, I'm calling it football. It's not soccer. It's football.
It was a
For
bad
me-
day for soccer that day.
Says
For
the
me,
fan of the
like-
Socceroos.
It is what it is.
I'll call them both. I like both words. It's fine.
Yeah, call it how you see it. Me personally, it's football or fitba. The media is scared in Australia of it taking over. In Victoria, the only time it's on the front cover or big on the back page is flares, hooliganism, fights. It's a shame, get it out, all that bad stuff. Yet during the World Cup, look at these beautiful photos of all these people at Fed Square with a red tinge of flares going behind. They can't get enough of it. But the moment it's in the A-League, oh, it's all bad. We need to stamp this out, it's all bad. Yet, across Australia, the AFL, there can be 100 arrests for drunken, disorderly punches on all that. Doesn't get a say. And I'm taking I would say a pretty good guess that the same thing happens in the US a lot. Besides the LAFC winning it and all that kind of stuff, you don't really hear much about it unless it's all bad, negative. But you don't hear bad, negative about the NFL, the basketball, all that kind of stuff.
Here, it's been moving up, but for the most part, growing up, I will tell you that it was the negative stuff that and baseball wanting to be baseball, and you could tell that the other sports saw it as a threat, so it was limited at best, or the worst writer, like LA Times, the guy that shouldn't be writing about it's the guy they send because they got to throw him somewhere. And so it gets that treatment, and you'd only hear about it if there was a crazy score, but really now, thankfully, the best thing to ever happen to US soccer and to American soccer is social media. You can't hold it back. You can't hide. It's out in the open because social media forces it out there. And now you actually hear the people's voices, right? Now, guys like you and me get to talk about the game, get to throw it up here, get whoever wants to hear us can hear us. And now this is the new world that we're in, right? And so it has its own independent media outside of the general media that keeps it running because the audience that wants to hear it now has a choice. And I think that's changed it here. They can't hold that back anymore. So, yeah, that's where I see it. Araceli, being in Kansas City, I mean, you've seen peaks and valleys and all that for coverage, right?
Oh my goodness. I think I could easily say we've seen it all on all levels over here. And that was one question I did kind of have for Bam out of curiosity, because a lot of us have seen those images and they would do a big focus on like the quote unquote party in Australia at 3 a.m. Like, were you part of that? It's okay if you weren't. I'm just curious of how it was perceived over there.
I mean, I didn't go to any of them because working, and those ones were taken at 3 a.m. I was up for work and all that kind of stuff. The only games I really watched were the 9 p.m. games, halfway of the midnight game, and the last half of the 6 a.m. kickoff game. Seeing all the, won't say the more media side, the more social media side of all the stuff going on and all that kind of stuff. Like, for example, the game against Argentina. There was photos going around of, there's a shop here in Australia called BCF, stands for Boating, Camping, Fishing. So it sells boating gear, camping gear, fishing gear. In Sydney and Melbourne, every shop was sold out of click and collect for flares. You could not go and buy a flare. And you just,
well, maybe
you're
there's
seeing
just
all
a lot
that
of breakdowns. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of people calling for help. A lot of people calling for help. That's all it is.
A lot of
And
boats sinking in the middle of a public plaza. That's it.
yes. In what was, when it was built, described as one of the ugliest things built in Melbourne. But at 5 a.m., if you weren't in that area, you were told to leave and go to Amy Park because they were showing it there. You could not get in at 5 a.m. Kickoff wasn't until 6, but at 5 a.m. couldn't get in. Seeing
That's
all
just
that kind of
beautiful.
stuff, oh, it was amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm still, how to say it? You only see that during the World Cup when something good's happening. If that was to happen at the A-League or the MLS, it's bad. Got to get rid of it. Got to destroy it somehow. But because it's a World Cup and Socceroos, it's fine.
I mean, it clearly sounds like it's pressure from the other sports in your country, which is what we had for the longest time until those sports started investing in soccer. Like, the owners have the same interests. So that kind of changed things here as well. We do have to admit to that. All right. So let's talk about the final before we get into LA. I know you're like, when are we going to LAFC? We're going to talk about LAFC, but we want to get the World Cup taken care of. Bring on the final, the amazing final. Messi versus Mbappe. A defending champion looking for a repeat versus a team trying to send off its great grand leader. The storylines, I mean, you get golden boot winners. There's 4 guys, I guess, in the running, and they're all 4 playing in this game. What? I've never seen this before. Bam, if you or Araceli, Bam, any of you guys, I'll throw it to you first, Bam. Have you seen anything like this for the golden boot race?
No, it's not wrapped up easily by now.
This is bizarro. Yeah, this is crazy that it would be those 4 in this moment. You have the tiebreaker of assists. Oh yeah, that's tied too. How is it shaping up? It's gorgeous. What do you think, Tony?
It's almost storybook at this time. It's like you have Messi destined to win his first World Cup, with Argentina winning their third, and cementing his history as one of Argentina's greats, and finally getting loved from Argentina, because, as most of you know, Argentinians don't like Messi because he never played in Argentina. But when he does well for Argentina, he's a godsend. Like, that's how it is with him. It is true. And then yes, exactly.
Yes.
And then you have France trying to be the first first in like how many years now? Like back-to-back World Cup champions.
The 50s.
Exactly. And they're like, and the last time someone came back to the finals was, I think, Brazil in 98, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
and France kind of took that. So yeah. So I guess somebody said it would be, if France pulls this off, that's 3 World Cups in 24 years.
Mhm.
I think I read that. That's insanity, right? I mean, that's dynasty in a way. Back to back makes it a dynasty, but 3 and 24, talk about entering the world stage and just grabbing it, especially after not qualifying in 94. It's a pretty amazing story if it happens. Still being in the finals is an amazing story. So all credit to France and developing what they did. See, France, most people don't realize, is also a multi-sport country like the United States, where rugby is huge there. What, rugby? Yeah, it is. There's other sports there that get just as much play as soccer does. It's not the main thing. So it's kind of the US vibe there, if you guys want to feel hopeful, is that it's all different there too. Uh, we'll see. I think, to me, it looks like the battle of the star for the last generation versus the guy taking the mantle going forward, right? Mbappe is the story going forward. He's already on the cover of FIFA. You see him everywhere. He's the media darling of the future and the present. Where Messi's that guy that's going to exit from here, and the international career is done. He's got a couple more club years left and maybe a trip down MLS after, but this is it for him. And it's just really an interesting vibe, no matter who takes it, to have those two guys on the field at the same time and the two systems running into each other, because there's some amazing, they're all amazing, right? I mean, that's why they're in the final, but just a great matchup altogether that we're going to see. Which brings it to you, Araceli. What are your expectations for this game? How excited are you? And are you getting up early in the morning for a watch party?
I'm definitely going to be getting up early for this game. Now, whether I'm going to go to a watch party or not, I'm still trying to decide, because not a lot of places over here are going to be showing the game, which is
Huh.
surprising. So we'll see who comes up with it. But other than that, I'm definitely expecting a good matchup. You could look at it both ways. From the Argentina side, they're going to be looking at Messi winning the World Cup for Argentina. You could look at it from the France side, like Tony pointed out, they're going for the three-peat, back-to-back wins. Me personally, I got to go with my ancestry here, so I'm rooting for France. Um,
Ah, okay.
and to me, like, Mbappe is a great player, but personally, my favorite players are like Alvier. Oh goodness, I'm gonna mispronounce it so bad. I apologize. Gerard and Theo Hernandez. Those are like the top players in my opinion.
Giroud, Hernandez.
Giroud.
And he's a secondary Hernandez. What? Come on now. No, the Hernandez brothers are amazing. They just are. I'll throw it to you, Bam. What are your impressions on this? Where do you think this one's gonna go? If you want to throw a prediction, you definitely can. But what's your thoughts on the breakdown of this one?
For me, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but for this whole World Cup, I've been saying Ronaldo and Messi will be two of the greatest players from this generation to never win the World Cup, and I'm staying by that. Messi, he's a great player. Ronaldo, being a great player, will never win a World Cup.
Showing how difficult it is. That's the truth of it. No one person can carry something through anymore. The way the game is played these days pulls from that. But I'll throw it to you, Tony, because I can already hear. See, Tony needs to admit to everybody that you see the logo above his head. His goat is not the same as your goat in some cases. I think that might be the case, right, Tony?
Actually, no. I'm rooting for Argentina to pull it through and Messi finally win the World Cup that he's been, chasing his whole life, because as I think he is Maradona in spirit, but not the Maradona that literally carried Argentina to a World Cup final and winning it. He's more of a little bit like a light Maradona, carrying the team when he needs to, because he doesn't carry anymore. He has moments. And when you see those moments, there are goal opportunities that end up scoring, and he creates those. I just believe he finally has the help that he needs finally around him and can play the system that he wants to play, and he can just sit back and do whatever he needs to do instead of carrying it. But again, can't count out France, but it's still going to be a good game. But I still believe that, as it pains me to say it, Messi will go down as the GOAT in the conversation.
If he pulls this off, you can't. The debate's over, right? The debate is over. I know Ronaldo has a couple of years on him, which does show. It showed in this tournament. You surprised me, Tony. I didn't expect that, but it's cool. I would have lost a bet, that's for certain. I'll throw out mine. My head and my heart are saying two different things. That I think that's where I'm at. My heart it's all messy on this one. Like, I want to see it happen. It's something good for the game. It's just something good for him to have him pull this off. What a way to exit stage right. To pull off a World Cup win. It would just be perfect. And that's the problem with all of it. It's too perfect. And when you break the game down, you look at what the teams are made of. Of course, if France plays the way they did against Morocco, I'm in Tony's camp. But I can't help but think if France plays their game, it's going to be nearly impossible for Argentina to pull this off. I really do. Is it going to be close? Yes. I think it's going down to the wire. This is why I'm split on this thing, because this is probably going to be freaking penalties because it's a World Cup final and these happen. Yeah, we're splitting hairs really on this, but my head's saying France, my heart's saying Argentina. I'm all messed up on it because France has looked good all the way through. There's not been a problem with them. They haven't made it look hard for themselves, or Argentina definitely has made it hard themselves at times. So we'll see if the passion wins or the tactics wins. Well, I don't know. It's going to be a fun one to watch. And of course, if you do want to watch it, hang out with us and yell at us and make fun of us because of our picks. Tony, where can they go to watch this game?
So me and Joseph will be at a BA watch party that is being held at Progressive Brewing at 9624 Ebich Street in South El Monte. And doors open at 6 a.m.
Poche Street? Okay.
Yeah, thank you. In Poche Street. Sorry, a little cotton dry right now. And like I said, doors open at 6 a.m. Game starts at 7. So if you guys are willing to drive to El Monte and you'll see us there bright and early, I'll have my mate there with me in the traditional Argentinian sense, as people has been calling me, certain things if they see me nowadays. And then also there's going to be another watch party in the San Fernando Valley at Tacos Way. So if you can't make it all the way to El Monte but want to be closer, you can go to the one at Tacos Way in San Fernando. Sorry for the yawn.
So, and the big difference between these two, of course, at Tacos Way, food will be served at 6:30 a.m. At Progress Brewing is definitely bring your own food, but you can bring whatever you want. So if you want to go get a box of donuts, go for it. You want to bring breakfast burritos, more power to you. Like I said, I know where we're gonna be. I know Tony and I we're gonna be hanging out with BA and friends of BA and LAFC faithful over at Progress. It's also a heck of a lot closer for us too. So, well, not you, but for me. And so that's where I'm planning on going to see this thing. And I've kind of avoided the watch parties this World Cup. It's kind of strange, but it's a World Cup final, and I'd be a fool not to. Yes, Tony.
We're also doing donations to help the underprivileged kids for toys for, it is Christmas season, and, BA decided to make this more of a charitable event, watch the World Cup, have fun with friends, but also give back to the community like we always do. So it doesn't have to be anything fancy, just something, to give out. There's no limit, but don't overspend. You know what I mean? It's like, if this is going all to charity, and it'd be very welcome for you guys to just bring a little toy or something like that to help the underprivileged.
Boom, there it is, guys. Definitely gotta get my toys ready. There it is. Yeah, looking forward to it. Predictions, like I said, I think we're all kind of where we're at. It's just gonna be good. I'm gonna enjoy this final no matter how it goes, because I know these teams are gonna play it right. It's gonna be a fun one to watch. I hope there's multiple goals and all the madness and the scoring. The scoring goes down to the last minute. It'd be great. Be great. All right, so let's move on forward. Of course, tradition dictates that we, of course, do a Black and Gold Vinyl Club minute. And since we're talking about a World Cup final, heroes and villains and all that stuff, Bam, you have a song choice for this one. Definitely share it with the rest of us.
So the song I've gone for this one is by Vaudeville Smash featuring Les Murray. Now, I grew up listening to Les Murray a lot. He was a Hungarian refugee to Australia. He unfortunately passed away in 2017 at the age of 71. He was the voice of soccer football in Australia. On SBS, he would always be there talking about the games. He would be announcing the scores, all that kind of stuff in the morning. I grew up always listening to him. The band got him in to do this song with him called Zinedine Zidane. The reason why they got him is because all the song is him saying famous footballers' names. For example, the first chorus goes Cristiano Ronaldo, Wayne Rooney, Veron, Suarez, Van Basten, Gianluigi Buffon. That's what it starts off with. So it's just him for the whole song talking about all these players, and then ends up going, the greatest of them all is Zinedine Zidane. So for me, and for the World Cup, because all these big name players, it has to be that song.
Dude, it is epically awesome. I love it. It's a good flashback, right? You know, listen to some of these stars who aren't they have hung up the boots. Pretty much all of them have kind of hung up the boots, I think. It's just cool. It's a good flashback, and it's catchy too, right, Tony?
I love Euro trash music. It's one of my like, how do I say this? My guilty pleasures. That and Eurobeat too. Eurobeats, there's also that's my initial D anime thing, but
the beat's a little trashy. We dig it for sure. All right, cool. Before we get into MLS news and just cover that's how we're gonna kind of end the show today is on that. Let's hear from you guys. Let's jump over to the community, see what you guys have to say. What's going on out there? Tell us your predictions, guys. We love hearing from it. Let's join it. Let's find some good comments here. I'll go all the way to the top. First one in the mix I see is it's Jibble. Welcome back, sir. And he's got a star on his chest as he's telling everybody. Burke. Oh, man, you're with us, man. He says, hopefully we get a new schedule soon. Ready for this to start already. Run it back. Exactly. And defend the cup. We thought it would be out today. That's one of the reasons why we actually did our episode today is we were figuring by the time we came on air today, schedule would be up. It didn't quite happen that way. And so we kind of lost out on the chance to talk about the schedule and where we want to go and where we want to travel to Costa Rica. But still, we'll cover that next week. Let's see. LOL man's on here. Samuel Carmona. Good. Josh Lee in the mix, dude. I love the logo, dude. That tiger vibe is perfect, man. That looks super cool. Josh talking about Yankees signing Rodon, Tony. What? Yeah. Jonathan Rima is here. Says, so when are y'all coming to a Strikers game? Man, I'm trying. I do have a funny. I told him about this. It was the craziest story ever. My kids, we go to the YMCA in Upland. It happens to be where the Strikers train at. And my boy had soccer practice there that day on the indoor court, and they double booked with the Strikers. And so my little guy's team actually bumped the Strikers from their practice, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. My daughter had swim practice at the same time. Guess where the team went for practice? The pool. So it was my daughter and the entire Strikers team training. Yeah, it was an interesting morning, that's for sure. But she didn't mind because she's a Strikers fan. She's cool with it. So, yeah, good funny stuff. Yes, definitely go out to a Strikers game. Talk to Jonathan about it. It is a lot of fun there. I was expecting a little more from him this year. I know it's a rough start. Let's hope things turn around for them and they get more competitive and make a good run here. I know San Diego's like as rigged as it gets, but still put up a good showing. The colors are cool. The name is difficult. I will admit to that. It hasn't rolled off the tongue well at all since it's come around, but I get it. I get it. I do like the colors though. It's kind of a good vibe. Araceli, you're in the same boat, right? It is difficult to say, right?
It is a little difficult to say because I still call them the Fury from time to time. I'm sorry.
Yep.
The Empire Strikers, I don't know. It doesn't have that. It doesn't work for me. So
Yeah, it just doesn't
maybe
feel
in
right, does it?
time it'll grow, but for right now, no. I'm sorry.
I think hear me out on this, and I know they don't care, but if they just call them the IE Strikers, everyone knows the IE, right? I mean, yeah, everyone makes fun of the whatever. IE Strikers is way better than Empire Strikers. It just sounds like Empire Strikes Back, and I think that's what throws everybody off, right? Empire Strike. Oh, see, you're thinking movies. It's just, yeah. There's something up with it. I know Jonathan also told me there's like a tip jar that they're doing with them. They absolutely, accidentally say Fury. So even they struggle with it as well. But good luck to them. I'll be out there soon enough. You know me. It's Jibble says, would you guys prefer if we try to keep Mendez? Does he start over Ilie this season at CDM or play another role? Oof, that's the first one to hit. I'll go to Tony first on this. You answer it, and then bam, and then on me. Then I'll jump into it. Go for it, Tony.
I think later on in his career, like Mendes moves into that position because I think Ilya is just a rock in that field. Like, you know what I mean? He commands a presence. He can, like I said, he's the unofficial captain without having the captain's band is the best way to say it. You saw what happened when we didn't have him on the field. You saw what happened when like Mendes was still fresh when we got him because he's not into the system. Maybe they trade off because again, this season, we're trying to go for all the trophies. We're going to need as much rest from everybody as we can. So that could be a possibility.
Flexibility. All right, Bam, your thought?
I see him taking over Sifu's role. So starting both Mendes and Ilie. They'll both be starting, both be playing. I can see them rotating. So one pushes up, then the other one pushes up, then the other one pushes up. Keep that rotating going. But with the way Ilie was playing last year, you can't bench him.
Yeah, and honestly, we're gonna have 50 plus games this year potentially. There will be games for both of them to be your CDM. There's no way Ilya is gonna play that many games. He's got to get rested. Acosta's got to get rested. Sifu's got to get rested. They have to rotate this year. They're all going to get a lot of play time. It's not one resting for the other. I think they're all interchangeable at this stage, especially with the heavy, heavy schedule we're dealing with. Look, if we make a run in the Open Cup, the CCL, the League's Cup, our own league, MLS Cup playoffs, good Lord, I think we need 50 players just to stay healthy. It's a hard ask with this schedule. It's crazy. So I can't wait for it to come out so we can tell you more about it. But it's going to be hard. I think they're all going to get play time. I hope we hold on to them as long as we possibly can because we're going to need them. But you know, John Thornton, he's probably got somebody up his sleeve that we don't know about yet. And it'll all be figured out by the time we kick the ball off this season. So we'll see. We'll see. Samuel Carmona, jealous of the Mascars. Truth is, dude, I have 10 or 11 more scarves that are sitting next to me right now. I can't figure out how to put them up there at this moment, including our championship ones, which must feature. That's what winter break is for, right, people? And so we'll figure that out. But yeah, man, it's just, you know how old I am by the amount of scars I have. Trees have rings, I have scars. That's just how it goes. Jibble says, if you could choose, what player from the tournament would like to join the club? That's easy. Messi. No, actually, you know who I'm enjoying watching, and because I know it's a potential, it could be coming to us anyways, is Griezmann. The more I see of Griezmann and the rumors of him coming here, the more I'm like salivating at the opportunity because the delivery he gives to the strikers on his side, to everyone, right? He delivers on a dime. If we get that guy setting this stuff up from the wings into the middle for who we have up front, who will still keep getting a good source of players, dude, he'll kill it in this league. He doesn't even have to kill himself to survive in this league. He could get years into this. And of course, it's too early for him to come anyway. But I could definitely see the passing of the torch between Vela and Griezmann. I think that's a real thing. I really do. So that would be my guy for sure. Keeper from Morocco is pretty darn cool. I gotta say that would be fun to have him on our side too. So those two standouts. And of course, I know Modric is old, but who the heck wouldn't want him around, right? So there he goes. Bam, what do you think, man? Watching this tournament.
Watching this tournament, I think we're going to do another raid of Asia. Do another raid of Japan, Korea. You know, the way those players were playing were really good. And I think it also might need to do, although we love looking at South America for players, go have a look at Africa. The way Morocco stood out, You know, they have some up and coming kids coming as well. I don't think it's just one player that I'm more looking for. I think it's more regions I'll be starting to look more at.
Well, I think Opoku and Blessing might have something to say about that, right? I mean, we have actually got really good players from Africa already.
Yeah.
I think that's an open source.
Yeah, but I think we need to start looking more there as well because there's a lot of untapped talent. Like as we've seen with Opoku and Blessing and Mamadou 4, we have some great talent coming out of there, but no one else in the league is really looking there. Why don't we go there further?
Get in. I'm with you. I'm definitely with you. That's the beauty of the World Cup is to see how much talent's around the world. And yes, checkbooks are opening as we speak, right? There's guys going to move for a lot of good money in this next transfer window, and they've earned it. They've certainly earned it. So yes. Hey, there, our brother Jerry Jimenez in the mix. Brother, you root for the wrong teams, but we still love you. No love for the Sockers. Sorry, man. Yes, Jerry, as you see, has been very, very busy growing the game in San Diego. All love to him for doing that. Keep it up, man. Keep it up. And I do hope that it is true that an MLS team is heading that way. I know for you, that's going to be a very difficult thing to think about, especially with your love for LAFC and so much that you've done for us here. But I still hope an MLS team is going that way. And so we can pay more visits to you as well, sir. So yes, all love to Jerry, man. Happy to have you jump on. Samuel, he's laughing a bit. Ooh, it's Jibble. Cho Gae-sung from South Korea plays for the same team as Moon. He's a striker. He scored 2 in the tournament. You are correct, sir. By the way, Kim Moon-won, he did himself well in this tournament.
He's
Good
going
for
to
him,
Europe.
man. What?
He's going to Europe. He's going to go to
He
Europe.
should. That's fine. Puts the hard work. He makes it. It's good. I'm happy for. Hey, I'm always cool with our alums, man. And if they do well, that's good for us too. So, yeah, good on him. Good thoughts, Jibble. Again, expand it. Find players from everywhere. That's what we're supposed to do. Samuel says World Cup went by way too fast. It was a little condensed. Yes, the same amount of games, but actually less days in between games for teams. So it was a little condensed. It's Jibble to have another Korean represent black and gold would be amazing. Yes, completely agreed. Completely agreed. More players in to represent our amazing community, the better, the absolute better. Yes, I'm with you. Wolf D9U, what's up, black and gold? Miss y'all, miss you too, man. See the little image there with the MLS Cup? That looks beautiful. I dig it. Also, happy birthday to the District 9 Ultras or Union Ultras if you're an old fart like me. My old stomping grounds. Dude, all love to you guys and what you're doing. Seriously, 15 years. It's good stuff. I know Black Army, we've hit what, 12 years now. Yeah. So it's cool to see everybody growing up together, let's be honest, and growing old together too. But yeah, that's that. But all good things, man. It's just nice that we all get to celebrate a trophy now. Even better. Jibble says he's rooting for Argentina. Will definitely be a game to remember. Agreed. I'm rooting for him too, man. Again, nothing against France. I like both teams. I really do. I really do. The Final Four. Dude, I like all 4 teams. It's cool. I was happy either way. Okay, Heart of LAC podcast. If you look on the chat there in YouTube, good old Bam got us some YouTube videos, so check those out. Wolf was asking about the World Cup. Let's see who. Yeah, Wolf was asking about Sifu. You guys, I think, already answered that one.
I'll be surprised if he stays. I'll be surprised.
Yeah, I'll be shocked too. Carlos C says, is the team willing to pay for Mendez? There's going to be a lot of interest for him after he's played at the World Cup. Don't forget he's a free agent now. Yeah. We'll see where he decides to go, how this is going to play. Of course, in league, I think we still have some protections, but outside, no. So we'll see what happens. Tough decisions, that's for sure. Wolf is asking why he's not clicking the same way for LAFC. It's minutes, man. He doesn't have consistent minutes with us. I think, coming in late into a season in a team that's already established, the adjustment is hard to make, and there's no room for error. And the guy that he's tasked with replacing is so critical to what we do. It's really hard to fill those shoes. As good as he plays, they play different. So, yes. Jerry, I don't want to talk about MLS and San Diego yet. Gotcha. Jibble, thanks for bringing it up because Almis Ibiaga left as a champion. That's right. He left as a champion, an LAFC champion. And all love to him. Good on him. He goes to Dallas. He'll definitely get to play there, start there. I can't fault a man for doing that. He's got to protect his interests. You don't get to play a whole lot of time. So he's got to do what's best for him. And if Dallas is what's best for him in his career, so be it. Just we know that he gave his all for us and helped us get to where we are, and that's essential. And so we will miss him on our side, but again, only the best for him as long as it's not against us. Carlos C, do we keep Teo? Could he be a good attacking midfield option? Oh man, Araceli, do you think we go for Teo? We keep Teo, or just let him go?
That's a bit of a tough one, and because I would like to see him stay, considering we hadn't really seen much from him late in the season. But I won't be surprised if LAFC quote unquote trades him for another player.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. And, what did he do for us? Right? It hasn't been all roses, and so it's really tough. We know what he has capability wise, but again, this is a stacked side. So where does he fit? I think that's the big question. Hey, Wolf. He's calling out Bam's beard.
Yes.
I can't say anything.
Taking me about since 2019, so good 3 years.
See? It can happen, Tony. It can happen. So can shirts, but it's okay. Jerry, I see Jerry here. One question. If you're John Thornton, what position are you looking to strengthen this season? It's the one we always talk about. I'll say it right now. An attacking midfielder, right? Or a controlling midfielder, a playmaker. That's what we've never had. That's what we've always wanted. The Christmas list continues. Do you guys have any other thoughts of where else we need to fill?
A true number 10.
There it is, a 10. Guess what? You're a playmaker. There it is. Double down. Araceli?
Really can't think of one off the top of my head, so I'll go with the number 10 because need a playmaker.
Consensus. Bam, I know what he's gonna say. Go for it.
A backup keeper for McCarthy.
Is he leaving?
No. Because
we just need one because we only have 2 on the roster right now.
Yep. And
yeah,
one that was quite
we're gonna need that. But honestly, the way Max has been rehabbing has been a little bit superhuman. Have you seen it?
Mm-hmm.
It's been pretty wild in his recovery. This dude is superhuman. He's gonna be back before we know it. I think it looks of course, you gotta be careful, but sheesh, he's doing good. But yeah, we're definitely gonna need somebody third string in there at least. Because I think McCarthy's our starter for a period there. I don't think we're gonna spend much money on that. There is a free agent though. I hear Sean Johnson's a free agent, so that's a little interesting. Did you guys see that? I guess he's not gonna go back to New York. At least that's what I heard.
There's a lot of free agents going right now. Hazard is rumored to go to the MLS. That's the rumor. So do with that information as you wish. Also another spicy one. I think someone's going. Just got sent by our friend Hugh Cardi that I believe Suarez is going to Cruz Azul.
Really?
The rumor has it.
He'd fit in there. He'd fit, since a certain team near us can't buy anybody right now. We haven't got to talk about that yet, but why should we? They're irrelevant.
No, because in the
Suarez has to go somewhere. Yeah. Let's see. Jibble says Bale is an interesting case. Is he DP worthy? Well, he has half a season to claim it. We don't have to pay a dime for him. Just what we're paying him already until the summertime. So guess what? He has an entire summer to decide what he wants to do. If he can't play, why spend the money? If he can, we're gonna spend some money. That's just the way it goes. We'll see. We'll see. Carlos says thanks to Bale for the epic goal, but we need to move on from him. He can't stay consistently healthy. He didn't come here healthy. I think that's very apparent. And he looked tired in the World Cup too, right? I mean, he did his work, but yeah, Bale of old, it's tough to see. It really is because we all know what he can do, and you could tell there's something not quite right there. So we'll see with the offseason and a long, or not long, but at least a full preseason with the boys, what it'll do for him, and we'll go from there. I say the book's still open on him.
Well,
John,
you also got to
yes,
remember
go for it.
too is for every day that he was with the national team, we were getting paid $10,000 US by
Really?
FIFA. Every player that was for every day a player was at the World Cup, the club gets $10,000 US from FIFA.
That's lucrative. Check that out. Not bad.
So we had
Not
we had
bad.
5 players over there, 50 grand a day US coming to us.
Ka-ching. We need the money. We need the money. Seriously. We win cups, but it doesn't guarantee cash flow. We need the money. Wolf went with the midfielder. Jerry's agreeing 100% with Jonathan about the midfield. So yeah, we have consensus, guys. We're still seeking that number 10 after all that. We have a number 10, but the playmaker after all these years. All right, good stuff on the comments, guys. Love it. All right, let's get into it. What's happening next for LAFC? What do they got to look forward to? I think the big one, of course, is expansion draft. Or not expansion, just draft, right? The actual draft next week. Expansion draft already happened. No, the draft. It's not like we're gonna fare so great in this one, right, guys? I mean, we finished one. Guess what that means? Yeah, not much to claim for this one. You're later in the round, so
Do we
we'll
even
see
have
what
any?
comes out of it. Yeah,
I thought we trade a lot of those picks away.
we tend to do that anyway. And if we have one, we're probably going to trade it anyway. Thornton is not big on the draft. He's not. First year we needed to be, right? We needed roster space. We needed him to fill it. But we tend to trade that stuff away, and we get a few decent picks coming down the line. We've had a few decent picks down the line, but it never seems to be a big priority for LAFC to do anything in the expansion draft. Araceli, I mean, you've seen it, right? Outside of season one, it's been not much.
Not much activity going on, and just right now I looked up the draft because it is happening on the 21st, and LAFC does not have a pick for either round.
And I don't think we're going to trade into it. Do you guys see a trade going into it? No. So just like
No.
the expansion draft, we're watching just like everybody else. It's strange. It is strange the way we play it. Or we could get involved in a secondary move outside of it, but nah, we don't have to wheel, we don't have to deal. We just get to be us and move on. So that's your story about the expansion draft. We'll see what happens. I think the waived players and the free agents are maybe the thing we're going to focus on instead, right? There's a few guys there you might want to look at. Outside of that, we wanted to talk about schedule. We don't have a schedule to talk about. We will say that we do know 2 away days. That's what we know about right now. We got the Rose Bowl coming up, and we got Costa Rica. Right, Tony? That's it.
Yep.
Guess
that's
what?
it.
I think Tony's going to both. I think I'm going to both. We wish Bam could go to both. He'll be there in spirit. Araceli, you're going to be working MLS next about that time. I don't think you can escape all the way to Costa Rica, I'm thinking. Right?
Nope, I can't.
Yeah. So, yes, Tony and I will be dealing with cloud forests and all the other fun stuff down there and maybe a little zip lining. Oh, yeah, and football. So we will definitely preview the match in the upcoming episodes as we lead into things as the calendar gets closer and closer and closer. I know it sounds and feels like it's a long, long way away, but really it's not. The games are coming quickly. I know we also have the Invitational out in Palm Springs. next month already? Right?
In February. Our first game is February 6th against DC United.
Good Lord, it's so fast.
Coachella.
So fast. And so that one, I think Tony and I might find our way to escape out there for one of the games. We'll see. It's tough. It's a long way out there. We'll go to Costa Rica, but Palm Springs, I don't know. Go figure on that one. The Saturday game I might go to. I might. We'll see. I want to go. So we'll see how that works itself out. But that should be interesting. But again, it's preseason. And might I just add to everyone, do not assess the future of LAFC on preseason matches. Certain Brazilian Twitter followers seem to be into doing that. But us logical adults, we can wait, assess, judge the actual games that count for something. Right, Slip? Right, Slip? That's how it works. That's how the grown-ups deal with these things. And so let's be grown-ups about this and trust the process. I think the club's earned at least that much. So I just had to throw that out there. Am I wrong, Tony? Am I wrong?
You can't count chickens till they hatch.
Nope. Not at all. Not the preseason. That's testing time. Letting guys get a run out. All right. Good stuff. Anybody else want to add anything for schedule? I mean, I know we got the Rose Bowl, but we're kind of in a holding pattern until they release this blasted thing. Yeah.
I mean, there's
Same
really
as you
nothing
guys.
to add schedule-wise, but we're also looking at LAFC's next pro team, when that's going to be announced and which players will be selected. Because I believe there's already been one player that's been signed.
I think you're right. There's one. Oof. I mean, again, we have a big academy. We have guys. We got guys from Vegas that are probably in our next program. I mean, no surprise there. Yes, Tony.
Speaking of our academy, do you not see the golazo from our academy?
I didn't think there were guys. There were strikers in America, but I guess I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty darn cool. I just again appreciate it for what it is. It's beautiful.
To be
Absolutely
young
beautiful.
and unafraid
Skilled
of putting
and talented and hardworking and playing for the LAFC Academy. What a life. What a life, people. Hey, if he earns it, he earns it. That's all that matters. Putting in the work. Again, he thought to do that. Give him credit. That's how you get seen. Good work. All right. Any other thoughts before we give it back to our lovely supporters? Because it looks like some conversations have been popping up. We're good. We're good. All right. Let's get back to reactions then. Our final ones for the end of this show. Jibble says, I heard rumors of an 18-year-old Colombian, Gustavo Puerta, who plays in the midfield, and 24-year-old Honduran center back Daniel Maldonado are being looked at. Well, I mean, that would address some needs. They're young. We're into young. Yeah, 24-yard defender. That sounds so LAFC right there. Could be real. Probably is. We need to fill the roster, right? People are moving. It's happening. So that it's right down the line. We have a pipeline for Colombian players. That's for certain. So we'll see. We'll look into that for you guys by the next episode. We'll have more details. That's for sure. But good look, man. We'll definitely look into that one as well. Wolf says he is going to the Rose Bowl, waiting for his vacation to be accepted for Costa Rica. Right? Yes. Yes. Wolf, did anyone watch the Academy Games semifinals? I know we lost in penalties at one stage, and that's all I gotta say about that. Again, it's Academy ball, guys. If anything, it'll add a little sandpaper to their play in the future, and it'll just make them a little tougher. We'll throw that out there. Oh, Jibble says Summer will be interested with Janela and Fall's return as well. What are our bets that Fall's going to actually return, though? I
Fall's not coming
can't
back.
see that happening realistically.
The only reason why he's not playing at the moment in Villarreal B side is because he copped a red card and he's been on the bench for the 2 games after that suspension. So that's why he hasn't been playing for them. But he ain't coming back. He's not coming back. As much as I want him to come back, he ain't coming back.
No, yeah, I don't expect it to. I'd be sad for him if he did, because really, the trajectory's saying otherwise. Janela, do you think he's coming back? Bam.
I honestly
Yeah.
forgot about him, to be honest.
Well, I mean, look at this. We got to play a ton of games. He's not a liability. We're still paying him.
The
Right?
problem is, though, how many plays can you have on the roster? Will he make that roster?
That's true. That's true. Oh, another complication for John Thornton. Maybe we'll just loan him again. Who knows? Or just finalize a deal. That's all we're asking. Jonathan, Fall coming back. Not so sure he won't be sold. Yeah, that's where we're at. Yeah, I mean that is where it's at. Thank you guys for the comments. I see Jibble and Wolf giving their thanks as well. You guys are the lifeblood of the show. That's why we keep coming back again and doing all this craziness that we do. It's you guys. It's definitely you guys. So, on that note, yes, we've come to the end of the show. I'll throw it to you guys. I'll throw it to you, Araceli, first. Your final thoughts today.
Final thoughts are simple. Just excited to watch the World Cup final and see who takes home the championship. And then, of course, as I mentioned at the top of the show, I'm getting ready to go to United Soccer Coaches Convention. I'll be working Podcast Row. And although Heart of LAFC won't technically have a spot there, I will be there representing the pod still. So if anyone wants to talk LAFC, come find me. Be more than happy to talk soccer. And yeah, I mean, I'm really just ready for the new season to get up and running.
There it is, and it's coming fast. And that's why we've all said it, why we've talked about it, but it's just, dude, it's here in a flash. So get your flags booked for Costa Rica, get your tickets for the Rose Bowl. It's coming quick. Bam, final thoughts, sir.
Final thoughts. As we're getting near the Christmas season and all that, we're not that far out from Christmas. Biggest thing to remember is talk to each other. Check in on your mates. Make sure everyone's okay. Be there for each other. Just a conversation can change a life. Like, that's a big issue too, is by someone you haven't spoken to for a while, check in on them, see how they're going, because that phone call could be the difference between a lot of things happening. So biggest thing, check in on your friends, check in on your family, make sure everyone's all right.
Well said, Bam. Well said. Especially this time of year. Everyone needs a phone call. Everyone needs a conversation. It only helps. It really does. Again, while these can be happy times, they can be very stressful times. So look out for one another. Essential. Thank you, Bam. Tony, final thoughts, sir.
Echo the same thing Bam said. Check on your friend, have a conversation. You never know. Holiday depression is a thing, and it really hits hard, especially around this time. So, just to echo what Bam said, also can't wait for the season to come back. I've been kind of antsy to go back to the North End, go back to seeing everyone, the tailgates, everything. So the watch parties have been fun when I've been seeing a lot of familiar faces and seeing people around town. So love that. And of course, my favorite thing is just, have a good holiday season. You know what I mean? Just drink responsibly and, stay healthy.
Thank you, Tony. Again, positive people. Positive. Show the love out there. Share gifts. Do what you got to do, but be there. Be present. That is essential. And be you. We appreciate all of you that listen to the show. We hope nothing but the best for you and your families during these holidays. I know it's a long time apart, guys, but we'll be back together in real life soon. Yes, find a way to watch parties, do that stuff, do the drive, get out and about. It's not completely shut down, but it's good to be out and together again. That's for certain. Otherwise, we're going to be there in about a month, hanging out again, doing our thing. For the Heart of LAFC, I will say again, thank you to everyone for giving us the inspiration to keep this thing going. It's you guys that keep us going. That is for sure. The cups are amazing and all that, but no matter what we do on the field, It's a community that wins the most, that does the most for all of us, that have got us all together and got us in this great place where we're at. Without you guys, LAFC would not be LAFC. That's the truth. No 3252, no LAFC vibe, no crazy supporters. It ain't us, right? We are the community. We'll continue to do that, win, lose, or draw. It's just nice to do it when we win. For the rest of you guys, again, have a wonderful holiday. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Bam. Thank you, Aristelli, once again for contributing your late hours in the evening to get this job done, as we always do. Of course, final word, Aristelli.
Stay golden.
Bam.
Stay golden.
Tony.
Stay golden, Los Angeles.
And from me to all of you, stay golden, champions.
Thank you for listening to the Heart of LAFC. Make sure to leave us a rating and review on iTunes or Stitcher. Shoulder to shoulder, the black and gold is taking over.